Okay, that's better. Hey everybody, how you guys doing? This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, coming at you this week with, oh, yeah, there we go. Hey, look at that. Yeah, this is, wow, oh, man, I'm flipping. Okay, how's that going? All right, good. Yeah, this is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, coming at you this week with...
Licensed Hedge. How you doing, everybody?
So yeah, that's what we're doing. Hey, look, we got a few watchers other than myself. Isn't that fun? And this is Buster Recap, the show where we talk about all the stuff we've been watching on TV for the past week when we haven't been working ourselves to the dirt. So, outside of that, how you been doing, Mr. Henchman?
Pretty good. I spent the weekend battling my laser engraver. It decided to blow a motor and then stop working completely. So I'm got that on my mind right now. I'm trying to figure out what's going on there. It's just frustrating because it was working so good.
Yeah, that again, precision tools are precise, and outside of that precision, oh my God, it is nothing but a PETA. Or should I say a pit B, which is a pain in the buttocks. Such a pain in the buttocks. I have been going through a lot of similar stuff, but did you get up to anything last week other than struggling with your laser robot?
Not really. Did watch another episode of Lost in Space, which we'll be talking about later, and started catching High School of the Dead.
Really?
On because it popped up on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
And more importantly, it popped up on Hulu dubbed. So that's one of those shows I can pop on and kind of half pay attention to while I do other things.
Okay.
Because I like anime, but most of the good animes that are subtitled, and I have to watch them. So that means I can't be, doing dishes, derping on the computer, messing around on Facebook. And, but that is some fan surf.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So we're talking not safe for work, if you will.
No.
Okay. All right. That is most definitely one of them things. Oh, that's what's happening right now. My soundboard is going all crazy because of the fans that we have going, because it's still hot. It is still hot. It's not as bad as it was.
But it's humid heat.
Yeah, which means swamp coolers mean nothing. Nothing at all. But before we go on, I got to do the thing because we are on YouTube, and it's like YouTube law right now that states, before we go on, we'd like to thank our sponsors, all of our hard work. That's it. And if you guys like what you're seeing, if you like the shows, help the channel grow by liking, subscribing, sharing. Hit that little bell thing down there. Let's see if I can do this right there. That bell right there. Yeah, hit the bell. Hit the bell so you guys know when we're going live, we're putting stuff up. So yeah, now that is out of the way, gotta love the internet begging, don't you? Like, seriously, when I was a kid,
I feel like we're watching a PBS telethon.
Oh God, Jerry Lewis. Yeah, all the Jerry's Kid stuff. No, when I was a kid, I actually thought, like, if I could just get a penny from everybody in the country, I'd be fine. And then came the internet. I actually like what our friend Ron said with remember back in the 90s where all you had to do was say you had a computer, shake a tree, and a venture capitalist would fall out?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's what it was, You kids nowadays are going through your own stuff, okay? So, and I do not envy you that.
Yeah, what was the magic word in the late 90s? It was multimedia.
Yeah, oh God, say multimedia.
With the CD-ROMs.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, Nicholas Hurst. We're gonna be right back in just a second. because what I'm hearing right now is that our sound is being all wacky. I think, yeah, in the chat right now, it was, let's see, is that the audio or did Solar huff helium? The answer is yes.
What do you mean?
The answer is absolutely
if it's
yes.
pitch shifting, I should sound like a dolphin right now.
Yeah. So what we are going to do is we are going to entertain you guys for half a minute with the healing sounds of jazz. And we are back. Yeah, how's it going over there? Okay, that's enough of that. All right, is that better?
How do we sound now?
Yeah. God, this guy's he's like the minion doing that on purpose does not help me. No, that's fair. That's actually fair. And thank you guys again. Like you guys know, we're live, so that's what we're dealing with right now. So if you guys will let me know if the sound is better, that would be cool. Sometimes we got to restart the gear because that is just the way it goes. So what were we talking about? Yeah, we were talking about, the venture capitalist and multimedia.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, it's terrible, 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 terrible stuff these days, just trying to get funding and everything. So, if you guys are watching this video at any time, just hit the link below. You'll see a few links below. One is to donate your books to prisons. If you've got extra comic books or role-playing books or anything like that, just follow the link, follow the directions, and help some inmates fight recidivism with a little education and community building. And down there is also the link to our GoFundMe, because we're about $2,000 away from getting all the gear that we need to keep this stuff from happening. That's one of the major things that we've been dealing with. So yeah, you were working with your laser robot. Mm-hmm. Not touching the plastic robots, just like I'm not touching mine.
Yeah. Well, two of our friends are both of their machines are all screwed up right now, and we are, when we have 3 different machines that are all failing in spectacular ways. The thought is actually the humidity is actually a factor. Temperature and humidity do affect 3D printers, and so the thought is that this heat wave is just borking the plastics in the machines.
Oh
so
my God!
Just gonna leave it alone for now. I got more than enough projects that I'm ignoring that I can switch to something else. So I got about 15 things, and plus anything to stay out of the heat.
No, do I get you on that note.
Yeah, running what is effectively a hot plate with a glue gun mounted above it in the room is not something you want to be doing on a day when it's 102 and 60% humidity.
Yeah, no,
and that's with the AC on.
Yeah, I'm sitting up going, I live in California, right? And I'm like, why am I getting southern or tropical heat? This ain't a tropical area. We're a desert on a cliff. I mean, how is that supposed? But Birdemic said it all. Damn global warming. Because global warming is responsible for a whole lot of things, and that is not a joke. Seriously, I want to make sure that my grandkids have a planet to go to.
It's funny. I worked AV for one of the international conferences when they first broke the CFC study results. And so I was running the slide projector for the guy from He was not from
In
America.
Panema?
No, he was. Yeah, he was a foreign national, and he was lecturing, and he was taking this lecture around, and basically he said, if we don't take action now, you will not be able to go outside in 20 years.
Oh my God.
They were talking about like a 40% die off of everything, like no ozone layer. Pretty much half the plants and half the animals will just die, and we won't be able to go outside during the day at all. Like, like the joke of the SPF 2000.
Yeah.
This was the lecture he gave, and he showed the graphs. He showed the chemistry involved. He showed exactly what was going on, and pretty much everybody in the room was like, "Oh my God!" And then he said, "The only way to stop this is we must have an international ban on CFCs, and we must have it in place immediately. And even if we do it today, the damage is done, and you're going to see an exponential increase in skin cancer. And you're going to see sunburns are becoming more severe, and skin cancer is going to become a common problem." That was 20 years ago, people. Think about it. You know, people who've gone to a dermatologist 40 times to have suspicious moles removed. The good news is the science worked. The ozone is recovering. In 50 years, we'll be back to where we should be.
Okay.
But
I was about to say, man, that was some bleak stuff.
oh no, it was bleak. Like he was pretty much, and yeah, if you saw the graph, it was this. It was pretty much a logarithmic climb, and it was like, yeah, no, this is going to happen fast.
Yeah, I'm just like, dude, you're okay.
Yeah.
This is becoming not quite. This is becoming a not quite fun show right now.
So,
yeah, but speaking of not quite fun shows. Okay, yeah, now that's a segue. Let's see. This week, outside of all of the stuff that I've been doing for Back in the Deck proper as a company and all that stuff, I've been getting papaya'd, you know, not guava'd, but papaya'd. Papaya'd to go to San Diego Comic-Con
2018.
Well, see, it's like everybody loves San Diego Comic-Con. It's a great show. It's one of the big ones and all that stuff, unless you live in Southern California. And if you live in Southern California, most of us are a company town and entertainment in one way or another. So this is the big show, not the wrestler, but, you know, the actual event. And it's like you've got the Oscars, you've got San Diego Comic-Con, and you've got the Olympics when they come through every 40-something years. And San Diego Comic-Con is happening. It started at a convention center, and now, much like a virus in cosplay, it has taken up all of San Diego.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I've never been to Comic-Con. I was actually decades ago, I was like, I'd really like to go to Comic-Con. That sounds like a lot of fun. And by the time I got to the place where I had the cash to be able to think about going down to San Diego for a weekend for a con like that, it had become unattainable. That's when it was like, oh no, like, you know, the lottery system to get the tickets, and good luck finding a room, and yeah, you know, it's several $1,000s to go to Comic-Con just because you can't.
Oh, you don't have to tell me.
Yeah, you can't get within a busing distance of the convention, and then and then you've got everything spilling out, and plus then there's the other phenomenon of going to Comic-Con, going through all that, and then spend two days at the con sitting out in Hall H or whatever the hall is, just so you can see the latest Iron Man trailer.
Yeah. Well, here's the gig. That's the normal person's way of going. Now, the locals' way of going are those of us that quit 10 years ago. I'm going back. One, because a friend of mine has a panel thing going, and if you guys can hear that in the background, my girlfriend is slaughtering sheep because I have to pack my own lunch. And but for the I said I pretty much gave up on it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because one, going to Comic-Con with no money in your pocket and wanting to see like the major stuff is kind of painful. It's just all I heard when I quit going was the theme to Charlie Brown every time I walked anywhere. You know, it really was the Charlie Brown Christmas theme as I'm just walking around. Ding, 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 ding.
I got a poster. Ding. I got a prop sword. I got a rock.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's what it felt like. That's really what it felt like. But in my absence, the con has spilled into all of downtown San Diego.
Yeah.
Which means this for you guys watching, especially if you're in SoCal and you don't mind taking an hour and a half drive. You don't necessarily need a ticket to Comic-Con to enjoy Comic-Con. You definitely need a pass to get into the convention center. But the stairs outside, no. All of the surrounding businesses, no. All of the surrounding downtown San Diego, where the people who just are done with the biomass of the convention center proper, no. You can just go and hang out in downtown San Diego and have a fun convention experience, especially if you go pretty much if you plan on like driving home at like 10, 11 at night, then you can just go for the day, you know, hang out in downtown San Diego, talk to people, do all that jazz, and then come back if you're not interested in seeing any panels. So that's a major thing.
You know, did they do a virtual pass for Comic-Con?
Virtual pass, you know, I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure my pass actually came through on my phone and all that stuff, but I'm on a list. I had to get a new ID, then I had to get like blood samples and DNA tests and all that other stuff. But again, mine just fell into my lap. Yeah, you know, this year because of some stuff having to do with VidCon. Yeah, you know. So again, I'm kind of getting backdoored in with a whole bunch of cinematic sorcery, which is fine. So the standard way, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Well, by the virtual pass, I mean that's the a pay-per-view or streaming. Virtually attended because they do that. Yeah, because they do that for BlizzCon, and I've gone to all but one BlizzCons. And the one BlizzCon we didn't go, we did the virtual ticket, and we just watched it in our living room. And I was like, you know what? This is actually a pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. If you can't go, this is almost as good as being there. Yeah. As far as like the panels and everything, because 90% of the stuff you can't see the stage, and I'm sure Comic-Con's the same way.
Oh my God, Comic-Con is worse.
You're sitting. You know, 30 rows back, you can kind of see that there are people down there, but you're actually watching the panel on a jumbotron hanging from the ceiling. Yeah. So watching it on last year at BlizzCon, Verizon set up a virtual living room. So they had a giant video wall that they were streaming the con on, and beanbags and phone charger stations everywhere. And at one point, I needed to charge my phone, so I threw my phone in a charger, sat down in a beanbag, and watched the con on the big screen and thought, how meta is this? I came to the con to sit in a living room to watch the con on TV. But actually, it was very nice to be able to sit down, charge my phone, and rest for 20 minutes.
Nice. So, very nice. Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, BlizzCon, well, of course, it's Blizzard, so they're at the top of entertainment. If San Diego does do virtual passes, they would be wise. You know, but they also kind of know, kind of don't, that anything that they're going to be doing is going to be up on YouTube in seconds after it's done. So that's just what they're going to be doing.
So you can go down there, find some place close by where you can hang out with the cosplayers and the other people who are going to con that you want to see with your laptop, and just stream YouTube and go, oh well, yeah, that's what's happening in the panel.
I totally didn't have the camera pointed at you when you were saying all that. I'm like, hey, I'm drinking. Oh crap! And I see the monitor. But yeah, I mean that
was a very eloquent coffee cup.
Yes, it really was. But yeah, so we're gonna be doing that stuff. And of course, we're gonna be dealing with a lot of the gaming stuff because we're dealing with gaming, and gonna get some interviews with some Steve Jackson folks if they're there.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, just do some stuff. Fun announcement, August 5th is going to be the first, I'm thinking probably Twitch, live stream of the Innomine game, and we're starting with Session 0.
Nice.
Session 0. So for those of you guys interested, Innomine is a game from Steve Jackson, and it's really big in Brazil.
Really?
Yeah. And nowhere else, which is why I'm going to be running it. Because, one, you know, I won at least 2 new players in the thing, so that they can get the role-playing experience from the Dead Bottom. Everybody is doing D&D 5th edition, so I've really got nothing to add. Yeah, you know, I've got nothing to add. I'm not Sirens of the Realm. trademark. I'm not Critical Role, trademark. Love you guys. I'm not any, and I'm definitely not Garblack Games because I'm American. They're British, so there you go, or they're from the UK, so I'm not those guys. But what we can offer is a game that hardly anyone's ever heard of, run seriously, and showing the world what it's like to create a character in real time and all that jazz. So that's what we're going to be doing. Looking forward to that. So yeah, I've been doing a lot. And of course, I had to do some motorcycle sorcery.
Yes.
Crazy motorcycle sorcery. Because when you're about to embark on any long trip, you got to make sure that your vehicle is up to the task. So the henchman magicked me up some new saddlebags, which was awesome. I really appreciate that. And I had to fix my brakes. And I took a 10-mile ride yesterday with no front brakes on my motorcycle. Don't do that. Don't ever, ever, ever do that. When I got home last night, I looked at the Hobbit, and she was like, okay, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm like, please tell me you got my cigarettes today, and she's like, no, I just got groceries. I'm like, I can't be mad because I can eat, but nah. And she's like, well, here's some cash, you can go get them yourself. I'm like, I'm taking the car. And she's like, why? And I'm like, I don't have any front brakes right now. I got home by magic, sheer magic, a few riding skills and magic. So my heart is still recovering from trying to get home last night, going, wow, this is like a movie. I got no front brakes. This is hilarious. Trying to get centered here. So that was one of the fun bits that we had to go through. So, and again, getting everything prepped for con, trying to get packed, trying to make sure I'm taking all the stuff that I need for the channel.
Yeah.
So, let us know. I'm not going to, okay, Clever? The chat's like, don't do that again. I'm like, I didn't have a choice the first time.
It wasn't planned.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, so in a nutshell, that was all the stuff that we were up to this week. Because man, it has been, as every day gets closer, I'm like, with everything. And, hoping all the mail gets here in time that I needed to get here, or else I'm going to miss the Wednesday. And yeah, just a whole bunch of, I got some family stuff I got to take care of because, yeah, even sorcerers and wizards have families. So yeah, outside of all that jazz, did I have time to watch Luke Cage this week? And the answer is, of course I had time to watch Luke Cage. This is my job. This is what I'm doing. So this is all the stuff I'm doing when I'm not prepping for work. So which thing do you want to talk about first? Lost in Space or the adventures of the black man that I'll never look like?
I'm good for either one. Why don't we start with Luke Cage? Because after we did our live stream, we sat down and actually watched... I actually watched that part of that episode.
So you got it fresh in your mind.
Yeah, specifically the beatdown.
Oh yeah, but yeah. So all right,
and what led up to that, and I got to say that the writers are definitely going with the parable of pride goeth before a great fall.
Oh yeah,
because most of that situation is Luke Cage's making.
Yeah,
and he's he thinks he's untouchable. Hey, look, I beat the Judas bullet. I got this. I'm didn't want to be famous guy, but I'm gonna own it. And it's changing him, and not for the good.
Yeah,
it's costing him a lot. And I especially like the scene where he has the big confrontation with
the Bushmaster in last week's episode. Yeah. Mercy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Bushmaster gives him three chances, which, by the way, that's also significant.
Oh yeah, thrice
and done. Because there's a lot of biblical idea. Yeah, he has a lot of biblical references, which makes sense for a guy who's into magic. He follows these certain patterns, but Luke Cage is like, nah, and he's like, hey, 3 times he says, We could be allies. We could work together. You don't have to do this. and Luke Cage is like, nah, Luke's like, nah, don't care. We're done. And I'm like, and my thought, my gamer senses went off as soon as he said, "No, it's my birthright." Sorry about the patois. I can't do it. I only have 2 accents, bad and very bad. But he goes, "It's my birthright," and I'm like, if I was a player, a PC in a game where the NPC says, "No, it's my birthright," I'd be like, whoa, what do you mean by that? Because that is a weird thing to say,
right?
Like, let's follow up on that comment before we go on there. And he's like, "Hey, your enemy is my enemy." It's like, okay, well, let's follow up on that too. We have an enemy in common. What does that mean? But he's like, nope, shuts him down. And then, like you said, Bushmaster has the most obvious, like, okay, minion 1, attack him. Okay, you use the baseball bat. You use the guy with the grenade looks at him like, okay, we're going to test the grenade now. I mean, and again, it's obvious to us as the audience. Obviously, the writers are doing it on purpose. Mm-hmm. They're making Luke be oblivious to this, and then he gets the sucker punch.
Oh yeah. So and that was last week.
That was last week, and
that
was
last week. Yeah, and like seriously, I mean, this guy. Can you believe this guy? He's just like, yeah, look at me, I'm Luke Cage, I'm doing all this stuff, and the dude ends up, he's walking, and of course he breaks up with and boom! Oh my God! That was just like, yeah, look at that. Just like, again, he just comes up, and no questions, no BS. It was just like, it literally was just like, bam. That's it. Bam. Done.
And I love how they cut to the like, innocent bystanders' reactions. So there's like, oh,
yeah, just, that
hurt.
Yeah. But yeah, and seriously, just everything that, again, it was like, well, I'm gonna do all this, and Luke Cage is like, man, I'm just walking. I got the Charlie Brown theme in my head, and Bushmaster just comes up, and he's just like, bop, bop. That's it. And but being like, being the thing, being the thing, what it is, Luke Cage, he's got to get up, he's got to try again, and with Luke Cage, he gets up and it's like, oh yeah, look at that, oh, and Bushmaster's like, yeah, now we're talking.
And he's like, wait, I hit him as hard as I could and nothing happened to him. This is not right.
Exactly.
Like, did I lose my powers? Like, does he have like, one of those X-Men power nullifying fields going on? That's the first thing you think when you see this fight.
Yeah, but like so Luke Cage has to throw the haymaker and he's just like, what the, oh my God, no, you were supposed to go down.
Yeah.
And seriously, it really was just that messed up, because he's like, I got this. And then, again, that moment, when you find out you are not as badass as you think,
like,
oh, this ain't good. This ain't good.
Yeah,
man.
It ain't good at all. And the thing I like about the fight that ensues is they do just enough collateral damage. He breaks a couple of metal poles in the fight to show that they are superpower fighting. These are 2 superpowered guys going at it, hammer and tongs, and no one's moving. Like, he is just wailing on Bushmaster, and Bushmaster's just maybe being pushed back a little bit. He's absorbing blows that will take out tanks.
Well, see, the thing with the Bushmaster in the fight, right? And for those of you guys on SoundCloud, we're looking at some of the footage from the fight, and one of the things it shows is that Luke isn't used to actually knowing how to fight. Like, everything he does, Bushmaster is like, nope, got a counter, nope, got a counter, I'm getting out the way, and then blam, just in middle of the chest, knocks over a couple of freaking steel poles that are made for cars.
And that's to illustrate to the, that is to illustrate, you keep playing that, but that's to illustrate that it is a super fight. Mm-hmm. It's not that he's took away Luke's strength. No, he's matched it, and he's capoeira fighting in a suit,
because you just got to be that cool.
And And it shows that they are not evenly matched.
No, they're not.
Bushmaster
knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, Bushmaster has come to not to fight him, but
bah!
to teach a lesson. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he does the cap. And the whole point of all of this is that at this particular fight, he is outclassed, and he is unprepared. And Bushmaster has a plan and is executing.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, totally executing, totally doing a fight thing.
And the other thing I also like about this, from a superhero standpoint, is you have two superpower guys, hero and villain, going at it, hammer and tongs, and they did not destroy the neighborhood. No one beat each other with a truck. No one punched a bus. No one did millions of dollars of collateral damage. Superman.
Billions.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars.
So, and it wasn't your typical like, oh, well, now I'm going to throw boulders at you and not pay attention to where they're going to land when I miss or you deflect them. It was just a badass fight being filmed on the Luke Cage app by at least 8 different people while it's going down. And all they did was break 2 traffic guard posts.
And see, if you take a look, you don't really need in a good choreographed fight, you don't need a lot of collateral damage, but what you do need is a great finishing move. And as we have, oh my god, that was like, seriously, on that one. Again, that's just, I'm a backflip on your face, and what's sad about it, what's really sad is that the whole thing was made for essentially one purpose, because you had that collateral fight, and the only thing that they were missing, and probably because they didn't have the budget, was the thing that every black person knows. Give me my goddamn money. You got you see what happened on that? Yeah. Oh my god, I totally just messed up the timing on that. I am a terrible comedy guy. Oh, there we go. But yeah, I mean, Bushmaster does the backflip, and sure enough, all they needed. You got knocked the fuck out, man! Give me my goddamn money. That was all they were missing, right there. Just they had to fly Chris Tucker in on a plane, like Martin Thomas from Double Toasted said. They flew him in on a plane and did that. But see, I'm glad you brought up the fight, okay?
Yeah.
Because that essentially is what came down for the rest of the episode. Because, see, this shows that whole pride cometh before the fall. Yeah, sure, pride cometh before the fall. But, excuse me, this episode kind of really sums up what I personally, and this is only a personal thing, but it's the reason I don't quite like the Marvel Universe. Not like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is great. I know. I don't prefer it because regular people in the Marvel Universe are just messed up. They are just messed up because after that fight, everybody starts hating him. Everybody, like the whole Luke Cage, everybody's like, hey, look, it's Luke Cage. Yeah, talking about all that stuff. The moment he gets his butt kicked, people are like, man, you a punk. Oh, look at you. Yeah, you know what? You may be all this badass, but you can't take out Bushmaster. News was like, it looks like Luke Cage, the unbreakable man, actually gets broken at all. Film at 11. He loses his endorsement from Nike. It's just like,
he had a Nike endorsement?
They talked to him in a couple episodes before that. And yeah, and it really just came down to first he loses his temper, then he loses his girlfriend, then he loses a fight, and then he loses practically all of his friends.
Yeah.
And with that loss, I'm just like going, dude, look at all the good that he did and he does for Harlem. And they're just like, man, I ain't gonna call you when it comes to Bushmaster, because I might have to call in Chris Tucker or something, because Bushmaster come in. You got knocked the fuck out, man. Give me my seriously. That's all that's gonna happen. So yeah, and everybody is like, I don't know, Luke. I don't know if I can count on you as my hero because you got beat up, And it really shows that in the Marvel universe, and again, people love Marvel because it's so realistic. And that's one of the things I don't like about it. It's realistic in the sense of everybody loves you as long as you're winning. And then the moment you lose, everybody's like, "Oh man, you're old news. You do all this stuff."
Yeah.
I'm trying my best to stay safe for work because I've got so many expletives going on in my head right now. But yeah, I mean, it was terrifying. I mean, it really was.
Well, that does play into the whole you're only as good as your latest failure.
Yeah.
So, his fame was because he was unbeatable, and suddenly he is beatable, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, you claim to be unbeatable," and it's like, "I never claimed to be unbeatable. You called me unbeatable." Like,
Right.
I never said that.
But as long as they believed he was unbeatable.
And the only way, another trope they could have gone with is he always could have been fighting against that image. I don't know if he was or not. It sounds like he kind of was owning it.
Well, he was fighting against it until episode 2, like we talked about. And at that point, when he stopped fighting it, he was like, "Yeah, I'm Luke Cage. Come on." He even dabbed it out. But and that's what happened afterwards. But when that happened, it was like, dude, Bushmaster like seriously served him, and this was after trying to be his friend, Yeah. So that was one of the big things. But yeah, when he lost all of his endorsements, I'm just like, God, nobody likes him because he got his butt kicked one time. Yeah, the chat's like, yeah, people are fickle, man. I'm like, yeah, people are fickle,
Yeah, that's play that up. But they're making it worse, obviously, for the drama of the series. Again, pride cometh before a fall. In reality, he would still have a crazy loyal core, because think of any sports team. Oh, well, they haven't won in 20 years. Well, they're still my favorites. I like an underdog. So he still would have had people come on up to him and being, his supporter regardless. But that's not going to play well to show he has to hit rock bottom. That's the whole point. He has to lose everything so he can rebuild, reinvent himself, and make the comeback.
Right,
Adrian, put me back in.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the big things about that, like directly after that fight, of course, his sidekick, his dude, is like, "Oh my God, I've been filming this whole thing and I just saw Luke get knocked the hell out." And he reacts like anyone else would react, like, "Who is this guy?" and all that stuff. And the Bushmaster, again, his suit isn't even wrinkled. It's not even wrinkled, And he's like,
"Them call me Bushmaster. Who are you? The stone the builders refused."
And just strolls. I am the stone that the builder refused. Let him take. And sure enough, this guy, and it's like Stone the Builders refused. Now, it's funny because this being black entertainment, but not BET, because they're terrible. You guys are the worst. This is the second time in black entertainment that we hear that phrase, the stone that the builders refused.
Now, can you expand on the biblical quote that comes from?
Well, we'll be getting there.
Okay.
We'll be getting there in a minute.
Because I do know it's from the Bible. That's all I know.
Yeah.
But it sounds ominous and awesome, especially the way he says it with like anger, like there's going to be a reckoning.
Right.
And then he just walks away, and again proving that this had nothing to do with the bystanders, had nothing to do with the situation. It was all about him and teaching Luke Cage a lesson.
Right. And
in fact, the fact that he only answers the guy's questions, he doesn't monologue, he doesn't do the villain thing of menace the people or warn them that he's in charge and Luke's gone down. Nope, he just answers the kids' questions and then walks away.
Exactly.
With the badass stomp music playing in the background.
No, it's true. And of course the other time,
other
time we've seen this is
I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made ladies sing the blues.
Again.
I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration.
Yeah.
That made ladies sing the blues.
That's what I'm talking about.
The same spark that lights the dark so that you can know your left from your right. I am the ballad in your box, the bullet in the gun, the inner glow.
So, in a nutshell, you know, we got that in the Boondocks. We got that in here, and people are like, what does that mean? Stone that the builder refused. And it's a quote from Matthew book 20, verse, Matthew book 21, verse like 11 or something. It's interesting because I almost thought it was Matthew 21, book 12, which is one of my favorite albums. But, yeah, and it is, the stone that the builder casts aside will be the cornerstone. You know, so it's like, I'm the dude that threw everything that got thrown away that you guys are going to come to rely on. You know, that's what it means. Yeah. It's like, you know, no, people threw me away, and guess what? Y'all can't operate without me. I am now, you threw me away to nothing, and now I am the most powerful thing out there. Mm-hmm. You know, and when he tells that to the kid is like, what? That's the Bible thing. But him saying that, like, reveals a lot about his back history and stuff like that. But it's like, no, I'm the stone that the builder refused. And it was like, what? You know, and essentially, you know, that's that thing he talks about the whole time. I'm taking Harlem. It's my birthright. It's all me. I'm the stone that the builder refused. It's like, you know what? No, I am the HNIC. That is who I am. They call me Bushmaster. You can call me boss. You know, that's pretty much what he came out saying.
Yeah, because he's like, he keeps hinting at some kind of like serious destiny and, you know, purpose, much larger than you know, oh, I'm just going to be making some money running some criminal empire. No, right. He is talking about empire building. Like,
exactly.
Whoa, what's going on here?
I just had to make a few adjustments to you real quick. Because I keep getting my elbow into your shot. And people ain't here to see my elbow when they're trying to look at your face. There we go.
How's that? Okay, good. Yeah, but...
see? Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, okay, no elbow. There we go.
Yeah.
But it'll be real interesting to see how his character develops and then how they reveal his backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Because... He's obviously proven himself to be someone to contend with. He can't just be shut down with a "you're done."
Yeah, no.
No, it's
you get out of here. This is my neighborhood. It's like, oh, this is your neighborhood.
Yeah,
you know. And as they pretty much said, as they pretty much said in the last episode, you said, "Stay out your yard." It ain't your yard, boy. It's mine. You know.
And I remember when you told me that, especially calling him boy. After putting him down like that has a very special connotation.
Well, you know, that's an interesting thing that you bring up because there are lots of things that you don't do. Okay, a lot of things you don't do. You never slap a man. Because if you slap a man, like if you were a man and you just backhand a dude, you're pretty much saying you don't even measure up to being worth my fist. I'm going to slap you in the way that I slap a child. The second thing is historically, it was difficult to be recognized as human, let alone adult, if you are a black man. Okay, so it's like, think back to Jim Crow and all that stuff. A black man was always a boy, always. It doesn't matter if you're 40 years old and you're a combat vet. It's what you think you're doing walking out the front door, boy? What are you doing, boy? It was an external infantilization. So Luke Cage is like, blah, 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 I'm Luke Cage, I'm being a man. And then when he had the first talk with Bushmaster, he was being a petulant child. You know, so Bushmaster pretty much sucker punched him with a huge uppercut, blam. And then he's like, yeah, it's not your yard, boy. And with the implication of you're not mature enough to do what you're saying. You're not mature enough. You're just a boy to me.
Yeah.
I'm doing a man's work and you're in my way like a child.
And also, if you look at the fight, he put him down, but he didn't break him.
Right.
He didn't bust a rib, he didn't break an eye, he didn't gouge an eye, he didn't do anything beyond here endeth the lesson.
Yes.
It was very much a beatdown, like, because he hit him once, put him down, he got back up, he put him down again.
Yeah.
And then he said he said his piece and he walked away. Whereas if he had been, one of your more traditional kind of like Snidely Whiplash villains, he would have broken ribs, he would have done something that would have put Luke Cage out of commission, and he would have had to heal up or at least, recover in some way.
Exactly.
But nope, he had him dead to rights and then walked away.
Yeah, I mean,
and again, that's weird because it also doesn't say supervillain. His status is still weirdly nebulous.
Right, because again, you see the fight and it was like boom.
Yeah.
Just down.
He inflicted just enough damage to get his point across.
Yeah, it's not your god boy.
And
it's
then
mine.
Yeah, and then walked away, i.e. he did the minimal amount of damage.
Exactly.
So it's the same thing of he gave Luke three tries to be his friend, showed Luke that you cannot intimidate me with your power because your power is meaningless.
Well, see, that's a funny thing that you bring up on the 3 times, because the 3-time theme is really, really pushed in this show, especially in regards to Bushmaster. Again, you saw the sucker punch where he put him down, But again, it's like, back and forth. It's like, look, it's not your yard. It's my yard. It's all this stuff. But even in the fight, Bushmaster then, one more time, and kick, boom, puts him down a second time, and talks a little more trash. Like, stay down.
And he gets back up.
And he gets back up until again,
and the third time he lays him out.
Yeah, it was like, that was strike 2 and strike 3. Oh,
Yep.
That's when you got to call Chris Tucker.
Which says that to me, not knowing, not having binged it, just looking at this, there should be a third confrontation between him and Bushmaster that, at that point, power level will be raised, stakes will be raised, and hopefully Bushmaster will actually maybe expand and explain some stuff to him before finally being like, no, this is the last time we're going to talk.
Yeah, exactly.
I've given you every opportunity to walk away. I've pulled my punches metaphorically and literally, and now it's time for me to get serious.
Yeah.
As I remember, one of the scarier moments in one of my role-playing games was when the guy with the flamethrower was getting annoyed at our party bickering, and all I heard him say is, "Am I going to have to clear my throat while he's priming the flamethrower?" And I went, "Oh crap! Everyone, shut up! Pay attention to that guy over there." He's like, "Thank you."
Yeah, I mean, quite seriously, And like when Luke Cage actually gets back to the barbershop and all that stuff, he is hurt. He's walking along like Roddy Piper and Keith David and They Live. He's spitting out blood, and it's like, damn, dude. And again, for those of you guys that aren't watching the show or haven't watched it yet, that happened before the opening credits. So it was, for those of you guys that watched last time on Luke Cage, wham, oh my God, that hurt so bad. Not as bad as this. Okay. And again, the episode opens after the opening credits with all them standing over Luke Cage, like many of the Chris Tuckers going, man, you got laid out. I think he was like, man, Shabba Ranks laid you out, bruh. Mr. Laba Laba. And
I actually love that line because it shows that the show is aware of some of its own goofiness and camp.
Yeah.
So by playing that out, they realize that he's a bit of a caricature, but we're rolling with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, it's not just that. There is, I brought this up when we did Luke Cage Season 2, Episode 1. There is a huge divide between African Americans and black people everywhere else. Okay, we have a very unique experience in the chattel slavery that broke the will of an entire people. Okay, the Caribbeans had their rebellion, and they have a different thing. It's actually brought up in the show where he makes it clear Jamaicans fight. What am I saying? And but Americans, we kind of bow down, go down, we go along and get along, at least as a culture, like as a people in total. And of course the Afro-British, that's a completely different story on its own, because they never suffered chattel slavery, and the Africans and all that stuff. So the two major Caribbean or West Indies, Afro-West Indians that people really know about, especially on the East Coast, back me up, guys, is essentially Jamaicans, and the two most popular Jamaicans out there are Shabba Ranks and Bob Marley. And unfortunately, Bob Marley has been culturally appropriated, because more white people are like, oh my God, yeah, Bob Marley, yeah, Bob Marley, yeah, slap of the bass. Oh. And but oh my God, I feel like my cousin. I'm just slinking down. No, so when it comes to someone actually speaking a patois, they're like, is that, who else can you say? I mean, can you say Damian Marley? Who cares? Peter Tosh? Who knows? Yeah. Heavy D? He's Jamaican? So it's like, yeah, Shabba Ranks laid you out, man. Mr. Laba Laba. And, so that was one of the things that was there.
The problem is because you say that so much, every time he comes on screen, I hear that I hear you in the back of my head doing that.
Well, I could have been like, yeah, it's my yard, boy. I'm a dilly D. I could have done the Heavy D thing, but nope, because everyone knows Lord of mercy, and thank you, Dave Chappelle. If I'm gonna steal a joke, I'm gonna give credit where it's due. But yeah, so again, Bushmaster in that episode gives Mariah everything that she wants in order to go legit. He gives her the money and pretty much says, hey, guess what? Severed head. Severed head of the dude that you thought was going to give you the money. Take all the money you need for this empire. Because in the last episode that opened up with amazing thighs from beautiful women, he made it clear, we're going to give her the money because I want her fat when I take her down. So I'm going to give you everything you want. Oh, and I'll take your weapons off you too. And you want to go legit? Cool. You want to get your empire really going? Cool. You want to do good with your club? Cool. You want to do good with the city council? Cool. You want to do all of this charity work? Cool. You got it done? Good. Now it's all mine. Yep. It's all mine. I want you to succeed at everything you do, so that when I take it from you and burn you down, it feels that much better for me.
Yeah. That's
oh, wow. Yeah. Oh man, it's a thing. Yeah, we're just full of technical.
Why does it do
that? Because I'm stupid sometimes. But it's an easy fix. Yeah, really easy fix. See, you're back. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, that was easy enough. Although I'm tempted to make the funny voice again to really mess with people.
So no. Don't mess with the chat like that. Now, let's see what they're saying. Yep. Oh yeah, that's right. Like spanking a puppy. Like, yeah, he again, it was slap, bad dog. Let me kick you in the ribs and knock over a couple of things. Yeah, you can't talk all that crap if you can't breathe, huh, boy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. You ain't nothing. And then he takes down, he really fattens up Mariah before trying to take her down. And in this episode, though, Luke meets Tilda. And Tilda's a new character for season 2.
Oh, okay.
She's an herbalist.
Oh.
Yes, she's an herbalist.
So now we get into the holistic healing.
That is exactly her bag. She was introduced in the 2nd episode. And Bushmaster went to her for the things on this list. And so, she gives him the things on that list. And she's like, okay, I guess he could be kind of handsome, but he's scary as crap.
Did you see what was on that list? Some hardcore evil shit.
And we also know that Tilda is Mariah's daughter.
Oh.
And she's great character. She was a doctor. Actually an MD, did the medical training and all that stuff, and then just got into holistic healing, traveled the world, learned the herbs and all that stuff, and she became a healer.
Maybe because some guilt because of her mom's empire and mom's criminal activity. She's trying to, redeem herself by healing.
Not really.
Or is she oblivious to her mom's evil?
No, she understands where her mom comes from. That's why she favored her dad. And her dad was a cool dude, the dude that Mariah married. But her dad was an awesome guy. And she's like, no, I'm a daddy's girl because mama's crazy. And she hasn't been talking to Mariah. She's like, out of your life. I'm out of your life. I'm doing my thing. I'm a doctor. That's some stuff. I learned some holistic healing techniques. So now I sell herbs in, I sell a bunch of herbs and stuff in Harlem. I got my own little shop. Yeah, it's a hole in the wall, but it's my hole in the wall. I'm doing good. Just leave me alone, just like Michael Corleone. And sure enough, Luke Cage goes into the shop asking about the bag that he found at the scene because he's pretty sure that Bushmaster went in there to buy something. And she's like, she says something interesting because everybody is trying to help Luke. Everybody but Luke sees that he's got some crap on his mind, and she asks the interesting question, the question that assures that she knows a lot more than she lets on, which is really good with the themes of, we're really kind of dipping our toes into magic and stuff. So she's doing all that stuff, and Luke is like, ow, ow, everything sucks. She's like, yeah, no, you got a concussion. I saw it in the way that you looked at it. Let me make you up a concoction. Here you go. And he's like, wow, I actually do feel better. He's like, and she's like, you feel better physically, but there's something else that's going wrong. Tell me something. Do you know where your strength comes from?
Oh,
yeah.
She asked him the hard question.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, where'd I get my strength? Yeah, it was, long story, a lot of baggage. Second time, time number 2.
Ooh.
Baggage is a lot lighter if you unpack it and repack it again. Want to give it a shot?
There should be a third one coming. I feel it. Yeah.
And he pretty much blows it off, and then he says something, and then she says one other thing, I couldn't remember it, but a third time. So
she does the gives him 3 chances to
I told you, it
be
pops
healed.
up all over the place.
Yep.
And yeah, she gives him 3 chances to be healed, and he just turns it down. And again, that's like a huge theme of this season. So,
well, it'll be interesting to see, because if they do the threes, he should be confronted and reject one more cycle of 3s, making it 3 times 3, and then he should be brought low and have to rebuild himself again.
Yeah. The interesting thing, the tense scene in the show, in this episode, happened between Bushmaster and Mariah.
Oh,
that was big, because they were having very much this is what Game of Thrones would look like if it were starring black people conversation.
Because they're both magic users. And
Mariah, no. I was talking about Tilda.
Oh, okay.
But between Mariah
and so they're so that's the whole I'm smiling at you because that way you won't see the knife.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming. Yeah.
So they're both kind of going, yes, they're yes, hi, yes. Where Bushmaster meets with Mariah at the club.
Oh,
and
club.
At her club, because he just bought all of her guns and gave her all the money that she wanted. And she's like, oh, Jamaican's coming. And she offers him rum, because Jamaicans, they like rum, because most of the Jamaican slaves were used to cultivate sugar.
Yeah.
Like, in America, it was cotton. In the West Indies, it was sugarcane crops. So, of course, you go to Jamaica, it's going to be rum. You, my friend, would love the Jamaica.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you're a big rum head, right?
I'm a big rum guy.
Yeah, you're rummy.
And actually, I like the Jamaican rum. I think, is it Appleton Estate Jamaican rum?
There's a whole... Yeah. There are... Jamaica pretty much is to rum what Ireland and Scotland is to whiskey.
Yeah.
So... And she offers him rum where the brand name is Bushmaster.
So he's drinking Bushmaster rum. And the conversation is like, oh yes, it's a unique recipe. There's only there's a limited supply in existence, and it will never happen again. And he's like, yeah, only 2 men knew this recipe, and both of those men are dead. Full body goes down smooth. You know.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of baiting and foreshadowing.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, he keeps calling her by her maiden name, Miss Stokes. Stokes. Your name is Stokes. And she's like, I'm Mariah Dillard, because that's who she married. That was her husband. And he's like, I don't give a fuck who you married. Your name is Stokes. You were born a Stokes. You got the Stokes blood, Mr. Laba Laba. And
which means his vendetta is with the Stoke family.
Oh yeah.
Which means, but that's actually good, because that means by insisting she is a Stokes, that means he has no interest in the daughter as being a direct target, because she's rejected the mother. Well, and she's not an inheritor to the Stokes.
Well, here's
line.
an interesting thing. At this point in the show, he doesn't know.
Oh.
He doesn't know. Luke Cage doesn't know.
Because she's not advertising the fact.
No, she's like, no, my name is Tilda Dillard, and I have an herb store. What? You know, that's it. Again, very Michael
Dillard
Corleone.
is a perfectly cromulent name.
Yeah. Yeah. But their confrontation was very much, thank you, and I'm gonna enjoy your guns. I like your I like your stuff. Thank you, Miss Stokes. And then he turns her back, and she's like, Dillard, my name is Dillard. Call me Stokes one more time. And he's like, So Bushmaster at this, he is so pulling the mastermind card.
Yeah, because
just going,
poke.
Poke.
Because he won. She lost her temper.
Yeah.
She busted out the rum, which was kind of this weird complimentary backhand thing. And he's like, no, I know this. You don't even understand the significance of what you just did in your attempt to insult me or either insult or impress me. You accidentally stumbled upon something a lot more dangerous than you realized.
Oh no, it was very much an insult. Very much an insult. There is nothing in their interaction that states that. Well, how can I put it? When they meet each other face to face, it's very much an underlying of, oh, you. That's right, me. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to spit in your face, and I'm going to let you. And now I'm going to put my finger somewhere, you know. And she's like, oh, you think that's going to bother me? You don't know where I've been. Yeah, I do. That's why I brought the glove. And she's like, grrr. It's like, you know.
Because, she lost her temper, so he won that interaction.
Exactly.
And,
like, seriously, it's so very much like these social challenges and these psychological things that they keep doing.
Yeah. Well, I have been a Malkavian in many a game, and I know the when you win. Yeah. That when you get them crazy, when you get them angry, when you get them making mistakes, I win.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But they set you on fire. Yeah, that just means I won.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's very much. It reminds me very much, and again, this is very much a mastermind thing. It's who has the power in the situation. An obvious example of this is Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 6. No, no. The real thing from this is, of course, the interrogation scene from The Dark Knight, where it was everything the Joker did was like, hey, I'm poking at you. You know why I use knives? Because you got to get personal. You really see a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, well, I'm a cop. I'm standing over you. Would you like to know which one of your friends were cowards? You know. Now I'm going to beat the crap out of you. That's fine. Batman just did. You know, and his interaction with Batman, it was like, blam. Don't start with the head. It makes them all fuzzy. You know? And the whole time he's just like, you know, pushing Batman, and Batman's like, and he's like, yeah. I only have one thing to say to you, bat, which is like a flying rat. Meow. And that's all Bushmaster is doing. Just
Yep.
meow, 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 meow. You know, just batting him around like a kitten with a freaking stuffed mouse. And so everything he's doing, it's like, dude, this is a very well written villain. Very well written. So yeah, so that episode, again, really, really good stuff. I was really happy to see a lot of the stuff that I saw.
Yeah, I'm also happy to see a well written and sophisticated villain.
Yes.
As opposed to
a mustache twirling moron.
Well, I was cutting back to Black Lightning. Like, this town, it's the smell. I hate the food. I'm like, wow, can we get any more stereotypically cartoon villainy?
That's true.
But, you know, it's like, okay, no, I have to make
a top hat.
Yeah, but it's like, I need to explain to you that I need to explain to the audience that I am evil, not just normal evil, but psychotic evil. So yeah, I have no redeeming qualities, so you can feel comfortable hating me.
Yeah, and Bushmaster is one of those like, okay, do I hate this guy? Do I think he has a point? What is going on with this dude? Because he's driven.
Yes.
He's driven for something. And I think what the writers are doing properly is we're at episode like 4 or 5, and they haven't just given us a dump. They haven't said where he comes from, except for Jamaica. But they really haven't shown us what his motivations are. He's just speaking this weird shorthand. It's my birthright. Her name is Stokes. I don't like her. I'm going to take her down. She's got to burn. Okay. But he's not going to war on the streets. He's not hurting anybody that's not in the game. So it's like, okay, this guy's lawful. Is he evil? Is he neutral? Like, what's going on with this dude?
Yeah.
He has a code. And yeah, his interactions with Luke Cage is like, you're not qualified for me yet, man. You're not okay, fine. Lesson 4. Smackdown. Back flip. You know, so yeah, so far this is like really let's really keep it going.
So,
but on to you with Lost in Space.
All right, well, this was episode 5.
Yes.
Episode 5, eulogy.
No, episode 6.
Episode 6, eulogy. And in a previous episode, the robot showed up, protect the Robinsons from being eaten by the giant rhino lizards, and then started getting itself torn apart until the boy said, "It's again." You could have said, "Defend yourself. Don't let them kill you." He said, "No, it's okay to be bad. Go ahead and reinstall all your hunter-killer programming."
Bad call.
Goes evil, gets the 4 arms thing, murders the robot, murders the rhino lizards, and then proceeds to get ready to murder everyone else. The boy talks it back down again. So now everyone's like, holy crap, that's the psycho murder robot. Now, this is interesting because in this episode, we actually get a count of the dead. I believe I wrote it down on a piece of paper and then I forgot to bring it with me. I believe it was 27. Might have been 29, but I believe it's 27 because it's 27 friends and family who were killed by that thing. I.e., of the Jupiter colonists, 27 of them died either on the ship, on the planet, you know. I think, and in the rewatching, because they harp on that number a couple of times, I realized, wow, you guys are completely discounting the crew of the ship. You have no idea how many of the ship's crew. You only know that's 27 of the colonists. So who knows? Like, because when you see the first episode, you get kind of the impression that like there's like 600 or 700 people, and there's only like 20 left. I'm like, because I thought hundreds of people were dead, or possibly thousands. Because if you're gonna send out, you know, your space truck, you're gonna pack them in as deep as you can. Because it's an expensive trip. But no, apparently there were only about 100 people.
Yeah. Which, don't get me wrong, 28% of the crew.
So then they agree to take a wait and see attitude on the robot. Everyone's like, and they do have the nice, because they say, well, the robot's changed. Well, if this was a human, it's a robot. It's basically been reprogrammed.
Yeah.
And then someone else brings the comment, well, what if it switches back?
Yeah, what if it gets programmed again?
And that's actually interesting, because as soon as they say that, They cut to Dr. Smith, and Dr. Smith is looking down and trying very hard
to reprogram it.
not to have a reaction to that statement.
Yeah.
Again, good direction, good acting. You can tell that she's trying very hard not to poker face the, oh yeah, I'm working on that. So, and it's kind of like, okay, I got to give them credit that they were being very consistent with the Dr. Smith's character. I just don't like where the writers decided to take her, just because they made her
we're
too
getting
over
there.
the top.
Yeah, we're going one
And
episode at a time. Now,
so
quick question. When you say like they had the whole thing, you're saying like the 27 people, was that made by the pilot or that the crew member that the engineer rescued in the cave during the glass storm? The black chick that was on, was
no,
that
the
her?
27 is they actually give a eulogy.
Yeah, I mean,
The-
you mean they actually have a thing at the end of the episode?
No, at the
or-
beginning of the episode.
Okay.
Like the head of the colony is walking around. 27 friends and family were murdered by that thing right there.
Okay.
Why should we allow it to remain in our company? They're basically having both a eulogy. They're putting the thing on trial.
Okay.
And then they drop. So then they're like, well, we'll talk about it more tomorrow. Dad goes home, and that's when Mom, it tries to explain the situation from it. It has gone like, you're hiding behind astrophysics again. Just explain it to me plain, which is a very nice way to say, could you dumb it down for the audience, please?
Yeah.
So then she takes like a bottle and she sets it on the table. This is the sun. This is the planet. Normally it would orbit the sun, but it's doing this weird orbit, and that's because of this. And she takes the bottle away and revealing that there's a coffee cup hidden behind the bottle. And he's like, a coffee cup? No, a black hole. And it's kind of funny because it's like, how would I know the coffee cup is a black hole?
Right.
You know, you reveal, look, and
Yeah.
so she explains that the planet is going to become, nothing on the surface of the planet will survive, and they have weeks, maybe months at the most. Should we even tell anyone? And he's like, I honestly don't know. Daughter's overhearing the whole situation. He's like, I'll support you no matter what you choose. She's like, but they're really upset about the robot. If we tell them this now, they're going to go nuts. I got to deal with the robot mess tomorrow. I got to fix that. So let me deal with that. And she's like, I'll figure this out. She's like, fine, we're just going to table this for now. One life-threatening crisis at a time, please.
Mm-hmm.
And but that is when you find out that the planet is a villain. It is out to kill everyone. Because that's the introduction. We'll come back to that later in the episode. So he convinces people to let the robot stay, but there's some ground rules. It can't be around people. Any changes of behavior, i.e., it's a robot. We can't really do much with it, and it is the only piece of high tech. It's alien technology. You know, the scientists are like, we're not going to throw alien technology away. And we could kind of need it to keep not dying. Oh, this is also the point where I am like screaming at the TV going, because our engineer, the smuggler, is standing there, and he's like trying to find a niche because, the light thing didn't work. So he's going up to different people, like basically introducing himself, and then like, how can I help? Because I got nothing to do. And he's talking to one person, and they're like cataloging samples of the dead critters. He's like, well, it'll be worth it for some of you to bring back more of this, because he's insinuating he's going to go out into the wilderness and bring them back like dead animals. And the guy's like, only if they aren't contaminated. And then his wife says something in Japanese. And he laughs. He's like, what? He's like, not enough time to teach you. I.e., she was saying he's basically an idiot who wouldn't know, a lobster from an anthill.
Yeah, he wouldn't know if it's contaminated if it bit him.
Yeah. So he strikes out there, and then he goes up and talks to someone else, and they're duct taking tent spikes to pipes, and he hands him this thing. It's kind of like an improvised mace, and he's like, what's this thing for? And she's like, I don't know if you noticed, but it's getting kind of dangerous out there. You need this to protect yourself. And at this point, I'm screaming out, oh, as opposed to, I don't know, a gun.
You mean that thing that they won't print?
That thing that they can print, and there are two people in the room who can make it, print it, but they don't because, we don't allow guns on the colony.
Yeah. It was interesting for me in this episode when it came to the treatment of that dude, who made it very clear, like in that last episode, it's like, you know what? You guys are going off to this utopia, and I know the planet's doomed. All of us that work on the ships know that the planet's doomed. And essentially, we are ferrying you off while we sit at home to die, and you're still treating us like crap. You guys have fun on your utopia. And it really stood out to me in this one when he found his niche with, oh, you guys need more fuel cells. Well, the ship that I was in didn't get that damaged. It's just, well, the part that you guys need, it's fine. It's just hanging off a cliff. You guys, I can take you to it.
Yeah.
If you pay me.
Yeah, I crashed in a desert. There are no poop eels in the desert, so I got 2 full auxiliary tanks. Would that be worth something to you?
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, money that you can't spend.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's funny because, again, he walks around and talks, trying to find a niche. And then he's like, well, I can do this. And he cuts the deal, and they're like, okay, we'll go get the fuel. Sounds like a plan. We'll have enough fuel to launch all the ships into space, get off this planet. While he's putting together this little deal, wife goes and talks to the other scientist, the biology, who's the only other guy who understands what's going on and loves the planet because there's alien life, and he's an exobiologist.
Of course, he's going to love
And
it.
she's trying to tactfully explain to him that the planet's going to burn, and she can't even broach the topic. And she's like, and he's like, yes, I know, we don't have a lot of time. She's like, how did you know? He goes, well, the way the weather patterns are changing, the way the creatures are migrating, the fact that every tree on this planet only has one growth ring. He's like, birth, growth, death. There's a pattern here. Because they've shown up, they've arrived in the planetary spring. Everything is breeding and like crazy because come planetary summer, it's all gonna burn.
Yeah.
And the entire ecology is based on this cycle of the planet the surface being sterilized, and only things like seeds and things hibernating deep underground to survive for the next cycle. And he's figured it out, and he's like, but why didn't you say anything? He goes, it would cause a panic. You saw how they reacted to the robot.
Yeah.
Hopefully we will have a solution and it won't matter. But he goes, we're scientists. We understand. And he says something interesting. We're scientists. We understand that information does not exist in a vacuum. It has context and consequences. So he's known, and he's keeping quiet.
And see, that's kind of the moment. That was my character moment with the Japanese doctor, good old Shang Tsung. He was from the Mortal Kombat 1. Okay, I'm old. And that was the moment that I'm like, you know what? I like this guy. I didn't like that he's there because I wanted Lost in Space, not Walking Dead in space. But I'm like, okay, at least this scientist is written like an actual scientist in these situations, Still don't like the politician. And of course, this episode had the budding sea story of the politician's son and the redheaded daughter, who is turning out, I'm finding to be, what's the term? I want her to have more screen time. As much as I love the black lead child, she is an awesome character, awesome doctor, pretty much easy on the eyes. But she has the right amount of naive, as she pretty much has that confrontation with the engineer in that episode. But the redheaded daughter is just like, dude, I'm still a teenager. I want to have boyfriends. I want to have fun. I want to live. I don't just want to do this Trek thing and all that stuff.
Yeah, and she's like, hey, look, on a planet, there's a cute boy over there. He's the only cute boy in 40 billion light years. I'm going to make a play for him. And then, because I special love it, she goes, what are you doing? Oh, they're having to get rid of the carcasses of the rhino lizards because they're starting to get ripe. And he's complaining about it. She goes, oh, well, I'm going to go skinny dip at well, she implies the skinny dipping. I'm going to go swimming at the waterfall.
I want to go swimming.
And she's like, you're welcome to join me. And then she turns and walks away, and he has a look on his face like, wait, what? Did that just happen? And he looks around, and he's like, oh, hell yes.
Like every teenage boy.
Like,
wait, did we just get invited for naked? Crap. What do I do? Okay, according to the math, when I pull my thing out. I want somebody to touch it. So she's wearing that bra. That means she wants someone to touch those. You know?
Yeah, so he has that moment of, wait, what? Oh, hell yeah. And he drops what he's doing and goes running after her. And
downside.
And this is all kind of interlaced. So they have some conversation while trekking. They work on some dialogue and character development. And then they get to the waterfall, and the waterfall's gone.
Yep.
The waterfall was fed by the melting glacier that tried to kill them in episode 1.
Which is now completely melted.
So now she's upset because she was going to have like romantic boy time in this idyllic, waterfall setting. Looks like something you'd see on Kauai Island. And all she's got is a bunch of dry, dirty rocks. And he's kind of like, oh, you're just messing with me now. You made all this up. So he's angry. She's angry. They kind of, so it didn't, planet. Well, so this is, again, cock-blocked by a planet.
Well, this is actually something I really want to bring up. Just going a little strain because we're going to run a little bit over time today. But yeah, this is, the symbolism there is huge. It's really huge because that shows, I'm a teenage girl. I have this idea of how I think romantic and love should be. And then the universe says no.
Yeah.
And the boy is like, is she doing this? Is she doing that? I don't quite get this whole girl talking to boy thing. I guess I will follow since I am led with a smaller brain. And then he gets there and it's like, oh man, you're screwing with me, because that's what teenage boys think.
Yep.
It's like, a girl would never like me. Oh, this girl seems like she likes me. She's talking about all this romantic stuff. And oh, you were just joshing. Well, that's great. I feel even better about myself. So 2 teenagers trying to navigate each other with this whole love thing, and then it don't work because nobody knows what they're doing. And that's what I thought that's what I thought was clever about the writing, because it's, I have an idea about the perfect romantic thing where I kiss the boy the first time. It's all dried up, dirty, and sharp, and the guy,
If you were going to make that metaphor, I was.
Exactly.
And then once again, and also cock-blocked by the planet, because the planet hates you.
Yeah, exactly. The planet is life, man.
And multiple times they say, well, there'll be massive geological disruptions as the planet gets closer to the sun, and the gravitational forces start to tear it apart. That's important, because then they're like, okay, well, we're going to go pick up the fuel. So we're going to take 2 of the chariots. Note, every Jupiter 2 has a chariot and a fuel tank.
Uh-huh.
They take 2 of the chariots and 1 fuel tank, because we're taking 2 chariots, but only 1 fuel tank. Why?
Yeah.
That's important. So they go driving, and they're driving along, and there's a geyser field where you're like, why did anyone build a geyser field? But random geysers are erupting in the valley, and of course they don't have time to go around it, so they go through it.
Mm-hmm.
And
bad stuff happens.
And bad stuff happens. They get the fuel.
And we meet the surfer.
The surfer.
And again, this is another good character moment.
So we're kind of jumping ahead there, because they get the fuel, and while they're getting the fuel, he's investigating the ship, because this is Dr. Smith's ship. Yeah. And he's poking around because he's figured out Dr. Smith is like, she's lying, she's playing to him, she's doing some stuff. So he's like, I'm gonna check this woman out, because there's something hanky about her. So he goes into her bedroom, and he starts pawing through her personal stuff, and he finds her medical degree, a folder with all her important papers, her family photo album, and finds out that
finds his picture.
Yeah, finds out that Dr. Smith is like a 48-year-old German dude. And he's like, holy crap. And he's like, going to get out of there. Well, the ship is unstable, and as they're taking the fuel out, it's starting to fall over the side of the cliff.
Because, fuel is matter.
Yeah.
And matter has mass, and mass equals weight. So as they're draining the fuel, the ship is going, oh, I'm so full of fuel. Oh, I'm so full of other stuff. Hey, look, fuel is going in there. Oh, crap.
And he's in there, and they're screaming, you need to get out of there. The ship's unstable. It's going to fall. You need to get out of there. He's like, I need 30 more seconds. I got to grab this paperwork and get it out of here and prove who Dr. Smith really is and show you a real danger. And also, I think he's also really pissed off that she's not one of the perfect colonists.
Mm-hmm.
She's a non-perfect colonist like him, a non-person like he is.
Well,
but
even
she's,
less of a person, because at least, you know, he is, I'm not going to say honest, but at least he is Like, at his heart, he's an okay guy. He's just trying to make some cash so he can survive while the world burns. But Dr. Smith, what's your deal, lady? You left me to die. Like, you left me to die in a storm where it rained diamond dust.
Yeah, you stole my flare gun. The only reason why I'm alive is because I had a chicken.
And then you had the gall to ask me to give you the bait that you used to screw me over back to you?
After saying, you should thank me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I was
gaslighting piece of crap.
Yeah, so it was like, wow. So, he's on a mission, and he doesn't make it. The ship goes over, and they're all sad. But then he manages to crawl up at the last minute, but he lost all the paperwork. So
but he kept the chicken.
Yeah, kept the chicken.
chicken.
So he gets back out,
and
they've got
daughter is pissed.
Yeah, and they're mad at, but they got a full tank of fuel, so they're good to go. They filled the auxiliary fuel tank. They got enough to do what they need to do. They're driving back, and the geyser thing's going on, and they risk the geysers, and guess what? They don't make it, because they made it fine before because they were hauling an empty tank. Now they're hauling a full tank. Things break down. Bad things happen.
Do you even science, bro?
And Surfer Dude gets pinned.
Yeah. And see, this was an important thing for me, because in that episode you've got look at me, I'm in charge of the only thing, and this is the first time you really get to see what a jerk the leader of the colony is.
Yeah.
Because Surfer Dude gets pinned, and he's got, diamond shards going in his back. He's got a freaking tanker on top of him. He's not having a good day. And Robinson's daughter is a doctor, and she's been established as a doctor since episode 1, and she's going by the Hippocratic Oath. I was
I can fix him. I can save him. And then it's pointed out, if we do that thing, if we move the tank is ruptured, if we lift the tank, the only thing holding it in place is this rock jammed in there. If we pull him out, we lose all the fuel. This is not theoretical. This is a little situation. You can attempt to save the life of a dying man, or you can condemn us all to death. Those are your two choices.
Which I definitely saw as a false dichotomy, because okay, for those of you guys out there, a little history lesson. There was a president by the name of Abraham Lincoln, and Abraham Lincoln went to the theater, and he had a little accident from a dude named John Wilkes Booth. Okay, well, as John Wilkes Booth is running away from, accidentally shooting the president in the back of the head, he jumped out of the second story of the theater and he broke his leg. Okay, this is important. He limped into the doctor's office saying, help, help, I broke my leg. Now, the doctor was like, this is John Wilkes Booth, and everybody is saying, like, this guy shot the president, he killed him. But if I help him, I'll be aiding someone who's guilty of, like, a federal crime and treason. But if I don't, I'll be in violation of my Hippocratic Oath, and I'll lose my medical license, because the oath is help everyone you can and do no harm. So he set the leg. He set the leg because it's his job as a doctor, and he's not a federal agent. He's not a person that pushes the law. There's a sick person, you set the leg. And every doctor who hears the story is like, no, you set the damn leg. You save the life that's in front of you right there. And she's saying, no, damn it, I'm setting leg. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm a doctor. And of course, the point that the politician was making was a fair point, except it's not absolutely condemning us. It's making this plan fail, and we would have to come up with another one.
Well, what no one knows as that part of the argument is because they're just trying to get help. What they don't know is if this plan fails, they die.
Yeah,
because they don't know yet that the planet is trying to kill them. Although it's really trying to get that point across. Of course, I was talking to Stickman, and the entire point of this, because he's like, well, I've called for a second tanker. A third truck with a second tanker is going to come out. we're going to transfer the fuel from the busted tanker.
Oh.
And we'll be done. But he'll be trapped in there the whole time. Well, he will die if we leave him trapped in there. He's probably going to die anyway. It's not. Do you see a hospital around here? We've got Band-Aids.
Well, yeah, that was the thing. And yeah, the chat is telling me right now, it's like, yeah, the doctor was brought up for treason for treating John, and he was convicted, and he was executed for treason. But you set the damn leg.
Stickman was like, and I'm a Stickman. It's like, why did you bring only one tank?
Right?
You had
They
two
had extra.
You had to have two vehicles because they wouldn't physically fit in one. You had extra tanks. Bring two tanks. Well, what if one of them broke down and had a problem? Then you abandon it and pick it up later.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get fuel from, the only source on the entire planet, you bring a spare.
Yeah. I mean, it's really that simple.
And
but the part that killed me about the politician was like, no, I'm going to treat the guy. He's in front of me doing all this stuff. And again, the politician had a good point. Okay, he had a good point. He was putting the needs of the many over the needs of the few or the one. But then he looks at her and says, wait a second. How long have you been a real doctor? Like when you served under a real doctor, like you don't know what you're doing because you're new and you're young. And I'm kind of going, you better be saying that same stuff when you got something broken or when you're trapped under something. Because it was like, this person's taking control of the situation because she's doing what she does and I have to belittle her instead of prove my point. And I'm like, that is not a sign of leadership. That's a sign of internet trolling. I mean, that's really the thing.
Because but again, good drama for the show. Because what he should have done was pulled her aside and said, be honest, what are his chances of survival?
Right.
In the short term, and in 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Like, what if he has a crushed spleen or what kind of injuries?
What if there's internal damage?
Internal damage. Like he's probably got a broken pelvis. How are we going to deal with that for the next? We're living in Winnebagos.
It's true.
So like, let's be honest. If you really think you can save him, then let's try to do this. And how long can he stay under there? Can you stabilize him until the other check? Like he should have instead of just saying, no, just shut up. You don't know what you're doing. He should have talked her away from anyone else.
Yeah.
And, actually
Instead
treated
of
her
going,
as a medical professional and get her medical opinion. Well, guess what? They mutiny. They pull the tank off of him, lose most of the fuel, and because no one actually thought along to bring a patch kit or duct tape, and surprise, surprise, he dies.
Yeah.
Because it turns out being crushed on diamonds underneath a tankard, the only thing keeping him alive was the fact that
the tanker was keeping everything in place.
So they put him in the truck and they start driving back and they lose most of the fuel and then he winds up dying anyway, and then the leader's like, see, I told you. And so now they've got a rift between the leader and no one's happy, and they've got just enough fuel to maybe get one ship.
And then they've got to deal with the fact that when they get back,
meanwhile, Dr. Smith is like, okay, time for phase 2 of my plan. I've got the boy removed the no-kill order on the robot. Now to take control of the robot, I give the gun to the woman whose husband was killed by the robot, and then do my... by the way, she's been studying on psychology texts. Mm-hmm. So using the techniques she learned in the psychology text of what not to do makes the woman completely freak out, take the gun, and try to kill the robot.
Which I thought was actually very clever.
Yeah. I second viewing, I thought that was very much a Xanatos gambit because the way it played out was perfect, but that's not what she wanted. I mean, it was perfect for her, but she didn't know what was going to happen. But regardless of what happened, no matter the outcome, it would have benefited her. If the woman did break the robot, she could put it back together and then she would control the robot. Or if the robot killed her, oh, look, the robot's bad. You need to old yeller the robot. Either way, she wins.
Yeah.
That's not what played out. What played out was much worse and much perfect. She shoots the robot. The robot's like, oh, are you being aggressive towards me? I think that was meant as a hostile act. and decides to go, Super Saiyan killer mode, at which point the dad jumps in and is like, no, and the robot, just bats the dad aside like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Boy stops the robot from killing her, but unfortunately dad now has a concussion and a major head injury and is in a coma.
And now the boy is like, you hurt my daddy.
Yeah, you did the one thing I told you I didn't want you to do, and you hurt the only person you hurt the one person in our group who was an advocate for you. So then he takes the robot. Oh, sorry, I missed a major point.
Mm-hmm.
Dad and son had a team building moment where dad took the son up to a bluff and had the son stack 27 stones. Each stone representing someone that robot killed.
Oh yeah, the cairn building.
Yeah, so that the son would understand the significance of every life that was lost and the responsibility of being the robot's keeper and what it means. So he stacks the rocks, they have a bonding moment, and the kid understands, and then the robot almost kills dad. So the kid takes the robot up to the cairn and then tells the robot to step off the cliff.
Yeah.
And the robot looks at the kid and is like, you really think I should do this? And the kid's like, yeah, do it. Robot steps off the cliff and explodes and dies.
Now, in truth, it really was an emotional scene on that.
Yeah.
Because the kid playing Will Robinson was like, I really don't want to do this. And you nailed it.
Yeah.
With you got to Old Yeller the robot.
Yep. It was very much Old Yellering the robot. And the robot knew what the kid was doing and was like, okay, if this is what you want, this is what you do. Because the robot gave the kid the gun because the robot's like, I'm dangerous. You might need to take me out.
Yeah.
And the kid's like, you're dangerous. I need to take you out. And the robot's like, I'm not really happy about this either, but if you think this is what you need to be safe, I'll do it. Shows you how loyal the robot is.
Yep.
And smashes itself. And that's where we end, with the robot dead, dad almost dead. They don't have enough fuel for anything, and the planet's going to kill them. Oh, and nobody's getting laid.
Well, no one can get laid. That's not a thing that happens on things like Lost in Space. No sex. No sex. Not well. Okay, yeah, no, not at that point. But yeah, so all in all, like, I would give this episode of Luke Cage a solid Full House. I really would, because it really shows pride cometh before the fall, and it sets up a lot of things, and it really reminded me of Game of Thrones 2018 Harlem edition. So I found myself like clenched on the edge of my seat, going, wait a second, well, yeah, well, oh my god. And part that I didn't mention was we got to say goodbye to a standard cast member, because he didn't get killed. He didn't say, Luke, you're gone, or any of that stuff. He got in touch with his daughter from like 20-something years ago. She needs a kidney, so he has to fly out to San Diego to save her life.
All right.
And he's like, sorry to leave you like this, man, and you got to get your stuff together, and you got to, give the girl time. Give the girl time. She'll talk to you again in the future, but I got to go save my daughter's life. I get to be a hero. Who'd have thunk? I'm like 60-something, But yeah, I would definitely, like, just with the emotional, with the feels part, and with the really showing, and that's what I'm really digging. Like, the more they show of Bushmaster, the less they tell, and they're just like, we're showing you everything, but you gotta look. You can't put this on into the background and know everything we're trying to show you, but if you look, you will be rewarded. And I like stuff like that. That's a thing for me. Like, if I'm gonna watch TV, I want to watch. I don't just want background noise. I got music and YouTube and all that stuff for that. But yeah, so I would definitely give that a Full House. The Lost in Space episode, I would personally give a 3 of a kind.
Yeah.
Just a 3 of a kind.
Yeah. I agree with the Lost in Space. I'm giving it a 3 of a kind because for like some of the emotional stuff and some of the other stuff, but maybe be 4 or kind or higher. But they're starting to creep in some drama for plot issues that are pissing me off, because people are seeming to go out of their way to make bad choices.
Yes.
When it's supposed to be the best and the brightest. You have like, man, he's basically the president of the colony. He's supposed to be groomed for good decision making, and he has horrible interpersonal skills. The head engineer is, like, no one thinks of, like, again, the gun thing. I know there can only be one gun because the gun is a major linchpin for the storyline, but they are making weapons out of tent poles and pipes, and no one's going to 3D print a gun. The files are loaded. Like, they just completely ignore that issue, even though there are monsters there that will kill them. Oh, it's okay. We've got a murder bot, so I guess we don't need handguns.
Right.
And so and the one tanker thing, and then it's starting to bug me. So I'm pulling cards away for that because I'm like, okay. Yeah.
No. I mean, that's a real thing. That is seriously a real
and also
thing.
like doing purposeful, permanent psychological damage to someone to further your goals. Yes, it's very Games of Thrones, but it's hella evil. And Dr. Smith is crossing the line from, amoral sociopathic character into a active psychopath. This is when she really starts to cross the line.
Okay.
And she's crossed the line earlier, but now she's crossed the line where she's not going to be redeemable if she keeps this stuff up, because she just ruined someone's emotional state, and set her up to be killed to further her plans. And that is not I was just making a bad decision at the spur of the moment. No, you set this up for weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so there's that. But since we ran a little bit over time, but we start talking about TV, we start having a good time. We have some technical difficulties, and no, I no longer sound like a chipmunk that's been huffing helium.
But you could if you wanted to.
I'm sure I could.
Hello, new friend.
But I want to thank you for showing up again, and for all the help that you've been in all this pre-Comic-Con stuff. Where can they find you if they want to get a hold of you?
It would be henchman1.bidp@gmail.com.
Awesome.
And of course, on the Book of Faces in our Facebook group, Deckers on the...
Oh, Deckers on the Book?
Deckers on the Book.
You could find them on Deckers on the Book. Isn't that fun? And I want to thank you guys for showing up. Again, I really have fun looking at what a lot of you guys talk about in the chat while we're talking, and talking to you guys, answering. And let us know what you guys thought about, after, come back in 20 minutes and let us know in the comments what you guys think about this particular episode of Luke Cage or Lost in Space. And let us know what you would change and all that stuff. And if you want to get a hold of any of us in particularly, you can feel free to try and contact us. And of course, how do you do that? You would contact us at backonthedeck@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on YouTube/BidP, which is where you guys are right now. But look at the rest of the, what's the term I'm looking for? The archive of all the other stuff that you guys haven't looked at, that you didn't know that we put up and all that stuff. But if you guys want to know what we're up to on the day-to-day basis, feel free to follow us on Twitter. Matter of fact, follow us on Twitter, do the retweets, do the share, and if you like the shows, make sure all the channel has growth. Now, you can also join Deckers on the Book, but you can join us at Twitter at Back in the Deck, like I said. Follow us on Deckers on the Book, which is fun. And if you're a lot like me and a lot like the henchman and the bard and the dude that's not even good at stuff, or like Dig Dug or not, you can definitely listen to us on SoundCloud. As a matter of fact, if you go to SoundCloud, you'll see our whole archive of the stuff that we've been doing for years, and you can download it for free and listen to it whenever you want to. When you're in traffic, when you're at the gym, even when you're in the shower, if you are into that kind of thing. And feel free to follow us on Instagram. That's Instagram/BackInTheDeck, and you can find us on SoundCloud at SoundCloud/BidP. That's little b, little I, little d _p. And I still, like I said, I want to thank you guys for showing up, and thank you guys for actually making this a lot more worthwhile than it has been over the past few years. That includes you too, my henchman. Yes.
Yes.
So, with that, I'm going to say here's our information again. And remember, if anybody tells you that you can't like your comics, like your TV shows, do your miniatures, play any of your board games and stuff, sorry, I just got thrown off. But if anybody tells you you can't do what you do or like what you like because of the circumstances of your birth, or circumstances of your birth being your race, religion, creed, or any of those types of things, be it sexual preference, gender identity, or all that jazz, you just tell them to take that card and put it back in the deck. This is Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer, along with
License to Hench.
and saying thank you guys for joining us on Buster Recap. Feel free to look us up at San Diego Comic-Con, because we are going to be there, specifically myself and the Bard in the deck, and we're going to be there if you want like interviews and all that stuff to say, hey, look, I'm a decker, look at us, I'm kicking it with these guys. And until then, I will say thank you guys, and we'll see you next time on Bust a Recap. This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, saying catch you guys later.
Night, everybody.